Hi, welcome to Studio Mondiale's English for Business Webisode. Today we're going to talk about how to improve vocabulary. Now, I'm sure that most of you will agree that learning vocabulary is not an easy thing. But I can promise you that even though it's not easy, if we invest the time, it will be worth every effort we put into it. And this is because the versatility of our business communications will improve. We'll have more flexibility and effectiveness with our business partners because we have a bigger vocabulary pool to use. And the secret to learning and improving vocabulary is we have to do it often, so on a regular basis. And what's also very interesting is that we have to do it regularly in different situations, in different settings, because this will help us to improve and to remember the words we want to learn. Okay. So in order to learn and improve vocabulary, we have to start with the basics. So let's start with a basic vocabulary card. Now, when you build a basic vocabulary card, whether paper form or electronic, whatever you prefer, make sure you include the following so that you have the word you want to learn and identify what component of speech it is. So is it a noun, is it a verb, adjective, etc. Then have a good, easy, simple to remember definition. And then finally, think of 1 to 3 examples in context how to use this word. And if you can make it personal or make it relevant to your business usage, then it will be even more likely to stay in your active memory and make it easier to learn. Okay, now if you ask yourself, I'm not so easy at thinking about or creating simple definitions or how to create sentences in context, well, you can use the 2 links that I provided here below my picture. The 2 links that I've given here is onelook.com. So this is a search engine that goes out and finds many different dictionaries for the word you're looking for. And it also provides simple, easy to remember definitions for that word. And then if you have problems with creating context for these words, then simply go to sentencedict.com and type in the word you're looking for, and it will give you many examples of words in context. Okay, so let's see what one of these vocabulary cards could look like. So I created the word sufficient, which is an adjective. And sufficient means to have as much of something as needed for a given situation. So for example, we have gained sufficient, or you can say enough experience to tackle this problem. Or do we have sufficient time to order all the supplies we need for the project? Or we need sufficient time to deal with the problem. So we see simple, easy to use, easy to remember. Okay, now let's say that you have problems to come up with a vocabulary list. You don't know where to start. Then we will introduce you over time to a series of webisodes to get you started that will help you to improve your vocabulary. So each of these webisodes will feature the following. There'll be 5 words, so you can say 1 for every day of the work week. And each webisode will be 5 to 7 minutes long. So it won't take a lot of time, or you won't need to invest a lot of time into watching and learning these words. And the brilliant thing is, you can watch them anytime and from any place. So if you want to do it at home, while traveling, or at work in your break, whatever, you have access to these webisodes and you can watch them as often as you like. Okay, so now that you have your vocabulary list, know how to create your list, then how do we go about using these words? Well, we have to put them into practice. And in order to do that, you have to find opportunities at work to use these 5 words each and every day. And that's because we're trying to improve our English for business vocabulary. Now you may ask yourself, well, wait a minute, I'm not using English in my daily communication at work, but that doesn't matter. Think about the situation you're in. So for example, if you're writing an email to a colleague explaining an issue or problem, when you finish that email and send it to your colleague, imagine for a second that you had to write that email in English. How could you use any of the 5 words from that webisode or from your list to make this email work in English. So try to give it context. And you could do this in many situations if you have a business meeting, telephone call, etc. Try to use the words as often as you can. And if you're having a little trouble with the words, no problem. Just go back, rewatch and replay the webisode as often as you need to reinforce these words. And then at the end of the week, when you feel confident that you can use all 5 of these words, then go on to the next list. Simple as that. So why can we say that this method works in the end? Well, to learn vocabulary effectively, you need to employ a 2-track learning system. So what this means is the first track is we have to do it often, or repeat the word and learn the word again and again. Perhaps you remember from school someone telling you repetition, 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 or repetition is the mother of retention. So the more you do something, the more likely you'll be able to remember it. Now, in order to reinforce that idea, we have to also give this word context. If we don't know how to use this word, then most likely this word will never stay in our active vocabulary or list or in our active memory. So the more context, the more ways we learn how to use this word, the more likely it will become an effective part of our vocabulary pool. And using these 2 methods together is the key to being successful with improving your vocabulary. Okay. So now once you have your list, you're actively using these words, we can say with confidence, the more you practice, the better you'll get. So if you ever come across a word that you're unsure of and don't know how to use, then ask your trainer. I'm sure they'll be more than willing to help you. Okay, so that concludes our little webisode of how to improve your vocabulary. So let's get started. So I thank you for taking part in listening to this webisode today, and see you next time. Bye-bye.